would please conduct the meeting.
Please stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Pardon me?
Is that her joke?
Two bowls.
Yes, one of you
We need a motion to approve the minutes of the September 11th, 2014 board meeting and August 26th, 2014 special meeting.
Make a motion.
Support.
Been moved, supported that the minutes of the September 11th and August 26th minutes be placed on file. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Carried. You received your treasurer's report. What's your wishes?
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented and placed on file.
I'll support. It's been moved, supported that the treasurer's report be accepted, placed on file as presented. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. You've received your copy of the Planning Commission minutes.
Gets in there somewhere.
Placed on file, no corrections.
I was not at that meeting, but there never is. There's a chair in the front, Mr. Dodds.
Thank you, Mr. Johns, but when I'm done with my report, I've got to head out, so.
I don't see it as zero.
No. Unless I get a text saying Jason's all right, I gotta get to check on him, so.
Okay, hopefully, yes. Anyone with anything to bring before the board at this time?
Public comment?
Is this public comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Do you
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Good evening. Vicki Sheffield, Executive Director of the Manistee Recreation Association. And I'm coming to you tonight just to simply say thank you for your continued support of the MRA. Not only financially, certainly that we couldn't run it without extra funds from different townships and different entities, but also in the way of the volunteers that come from Manistee Township. Whether there are swim assistants or coaches, whatever, we're very appreciative of that. And if you're not aware, it has been posted. My term is coming to an end. And when I say term, it's not a term position, but I am stepping down at the end of the year. And our board has been doing a search for a new director. That posting is up on Monday, and from there they'll select some candidates to interview. In the course of the time that we've been going through this process, I have been preparing and helping get things ready for the new director to ensure a smooth transition. And we also, because this is generally our slower time of year, this is when I take care of getting all of the programs set for the following year. So I wanted to leave that with you tonight, and just so you know that the MRA isn't just going to be left out there with nothing going on. Programs will still continue. Everything is in place through next fall. And again, I just want to say, you know, how much we appreciate it, the board appreciates it, and I certainly hope that Manistee Township will continue to support the MRA and what it does for the kids.
Thank you for your information. Serving.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I guess we'll address this further down the line. Ken?
Ed Sang, I have been working with Mrs. Jankwitz in zoning board of review on my farm at 1995 Cedar Road. At one point, your assessor, is that what I want to call it, the lady, took my ag exemption away. I came to the zoning board of review and went through it with them, and they said they agreed that it's still agricultural, I should have agricultural status. But I paid my taxes then. That was 2013. I still haven't, still working with Miss Anderson. Now she has given me 65% ag status, when I think it should still be more than that, but that's another issue, I guess, for me and the board of review and stuff. But I can't get a hold of Mrs. Anderson and get this worked out, where I get reimbursed for my taxes for the agricultural status of 65%. She doesn't return phone calls. I've been talking with Miss Jankwitz, Miss Jankwitz about it. She says her hands are tied. She has to file the paperwork. I've been to the county. They have not heard anything from Mrs. Anderson about it all. And I guess I'm here asking, where do I go and what do I do to help get my past issue resolved, let alone the future?
What we can do, without making any promises, is we can contact Mrs. Anderson and find out what the problem is.
If you would, please, because she does not return my phone calls, and I've tried. Connie has tried. I'd sure like to get that cleared up.
All right, don't blame me.
Thank you very much.
And the refund will come from the county, but the paperwork has to come from our assessor to the county to make that happen. So you're
Correct.
on the right track. We're just not there yet.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Mr. Commissioner.
Okay. Well, last month's meeting, as I described to you at the previous one, we come to resolution on the kettle hole drain, but that motion was tabled. We did not have a full board at the last meeting. We do have a board meeting tomorrow, a special board meeting to deal with the roof on East Annex. So that is a special meeting. It's been posted. It'll be at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning at the courthouse. And let's see. We do have a contract between the courthouse and the library employees union, a contract for 3 years at 1% per year. The fee schedule was updated. I do not have a schedule to disseminate to you, but the fee schedule was updated for equalization and the planning departments. We had a presentation from MSU for fire protection plan review for the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, and that was rather in-depth. I don't really have much to tell you about it other than that. Something that needed to be done and in place so they could get some reimbursement for that, so that did happen, which was good. Not all counties were able to pull that off. We passed a resolution supporting that because that was one of the requirements in regards to getting some funding. We also have a negotiated with the courts. The courts received 1%. It's a kind of a mixed up process. It's 1% for 1 year, but we share between Benzie County also. Well, Benzie County, due to their budget processing, they actually budgeted a 3% increase for the employees up there for this coming calendar year. Well, anyways, to get to the gist of it, the county employees for Manistee County that are members of the courts are going to receive a 1% for this year. Those that join, so if one could be 60-40 between Manistee and Benzie, they'll get the 1% for 60, 1.5% for the 40 for the Benzie part. It's going to be a 1 year, one-time deal. It's kind of convoluted, and we don't want to have that happen again. As I mentioned, we've got the East Annex roof is leaking, so we've got a special meeting. We've got bids coming in for that for tomorrow morning. And also, there's a contract that is being worked on or in place to do topical mapping, which is what was discussed is for the entire county to the tune of around $18,000 to $20,000, as opposed to doing just the one special one for the McGinnis drain. It would give them the information they need. So tomorrow I plan on visiting with Rob Carson in regard to that, because there seems to be a little anxiety about trying to get this McGinnis drain done soon, and I'm not sure everybody's on that page, but that seems to be where the drain commissioner's at the moment.
How far out is that finished project?
Well, that's what I gotta talk to Rob about, find out, at what point in time, if it'll be spring or fall, when will that information be accessible, when's it gonna get done? And that's all I've got for right now. And I hate to report and run after fielding questions from anybody, but,
Any questions for Jeff? Yes, ma'am.
Has the county applied for grants for that drain at all, Jeffrey?
no, they have not as of yet. And that's the one thing we're trying to,
It's millions of dollars to get
it could
fixed.
be,
those
it very well could be. And there's things that have to happen with the emergency management coordinator to make sure some things are done from his state, for him, along with, then you gotta have Mr. Smith doing his thing as the drain commissioner.
As long as he's aware of the deadlines, because there are deadlines on that
Yes.
stuff.
I have one thing that maybe not a question, maybe a statement that I need confirmation of, but with the change, and this is related to the courts, and when you're talking about the courts, with the new ruling as to no court cost, the revenue at the court has to be in jeopardy, and so we have provisions for that, or?
We cut 50% out of what we had projected for this year's budget, and it was originally 300, we cut 150,000. There is a fix that's in place going to the governor's desk for signature. I can't give you any more information other than that. The legislature did come up with a fix to help out on that funding issue. Because depending on the county, depending on who the judge is and how that court is being operated, it's a significant hit. 300,000 for us is 3%. Yes. But you go down to Mason County, when I talk to Fabian down there, their county administrator, anywhere near that size. And that's one of the problems why the Supreme Court did what they did, because it's not uniform across the state.
Anyone else? Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thanks. See you.
Good luck. Mr. Fina.
It's nice to be back. And see all your smiling faces.
Nice to see yours as well.
In August, we had 3 receipts, a couple of commercial signs and a new house. And in September, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receipts, land use permits issued. And like you know, I haven't been here for about 3 weeks, so I've got a lot of phone calls. I've actually caught up, so don't have much more news. I haven't been to a plan commission meeting in a couple months.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Chuck?
Why, sure. For the month of September, we had 5 related fire calls, 23 medical related, and then we had 7 other meetings, station trainings, and other activities. Total of 35 activities. Burn permits were 6. Personnel hours were 375 with my hours of 77 and the other officers of 84 for a total of 536 hours for September. Go down my list there, the apparatus. We have the used truck replacing 133. I sent you folks a proposal, an email, so you can look at it with the information on it. So you apparently didn't have any questions because I didn't get any questions back, so hopefully I did a good job on that. So where we're at with that, we did locate a truck, a nice used Quint. But on that last part of that proposal, there was one that might be worth looking at also, and it would be under that amount. So what I was hoping for tonight is that we could approve up to that 120,000 that way, because we missed out on a nice truck because of kind of like window shopping. So that's what we're at with that one. I keep going on the current trucks. We did the bumper and ladder testing. 131, 132, and 134 all passed. All the ladders passed. We didn't do 33 because we're hoping that we're going to replace it, so we don't want to spend any time on that. 132, we had 2 valves that were replaced at the pump and ladder test because it drains the tank You go to drain the pump and it'll drain the whole tank because it's leaking past it, so we had those replaced. They're also gonna come back and modify the drain. Apparently, because it was built down in Mississippi, they didn't think you had to drain all the water out of it, so it froze. We've been having problems with it, freezing the gauges and stuff like that, so we'll be working on that. We still have the station committee that's working on the SCBA log sheets. The fire extinguishers have just been inspected, their yearly inspection on the station and all the trucks. And under equipment, the 50/50 grant, we got $1,658 back from the state, thanks to help from the county. And the revenue sharing, we've been getting some of that equipment in that we ordered finally. And then we also put in for another grant jointly with East Lake for a water supply strategy, like 5-inch large diameter hose and stuff like that. And I thought the meeting was last Monday night, because it's usually the first Monday of the, isn't it? It's second Monday, okay. Too much going on. So that's next Monday, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, and then we had Jimmy Edmondson built another station gear rack. It's like a twin to the other one. It's really nice. If you did see, you guys did see the other one, didn't you? Okay, he's built another one just like it. They're duplicates. So when you see Jimmy, thank him. We had 2 more applicants come in. One just came in one day after a run. Another one contacted me, and they're both have firefighter training. They live in the area now, so we'll look into that. Under training, they're going to be doing a hazardous material decontamination October 15th at the hospital at 6 o'clock. So if you see a bunch of stuff going on at the hospital that night, that's what's going on, it's just training. And also, over the next 6 months, on Saturdays and then in the spring on Sundays, you'll see a bunch of folks at the station. There'll be officers' classes going on there. We're hosting that. And then under administrative, the training facility, still working on that. You can see the connexes were delivered, so in time for the October 1st deadline with the grant that we have from the state. So we're working on that, that approval for on-site. I just met a gentleman here tonight, so it sounds like it should be able to work that out. And then no word on our FEMA grant. We had 2 of those in there. We haven't heard any word on those. And then the automatic aid agreement with East Lake, the wording, we still have to work that out.
Is that in our hands?
Yes. I still have the copy of the one that they signed, which we can...
We have to change 2 words in it, right?
Yeah, the mutual has to come out, that's
Right.
pretty much it.
Remind me, please.
I will. That's no problem. There's a lot of stuff going on. Fire prevention at MCC last Sunday, they had over 170 kids show up, which was pretty good for a Sunday between 10 and 2. So that was pretty good. Jim Henderson organized that event this year, so when we see him, thank him. And then a special note, Chief Dunlap's name's on the Firefighters Memorial now over at Roscommon, so if you're over that way, stop by and see it. It took a little longer to get it on there, but it's on there now.
Is that it?
Yep.
Any questions?
Just that.
We'll discuss that when unfinished business.
Okay.
But I think I can speak for the whole board in thanking your crew for the job that they do.
Well, thank you. We couldn't do it without the crew. We can have all the...
Well, they got 536 volunteer hours.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, in the past, all those extra activities, we never captured those, so we're trying to capture those numbers.
Okay. Under liquor inspector, there are no significant changes. Oak prison report. Is there a report?
Clara.
From someone? Clara, yes, go ahead.
Met the new warden. Her name is Laura M. Gidley. I still haven't quite got an assessment on her yet. Critton was a no-nonsense type of lady, but I don't know this new, just met her today. They had 7 new hires since the last time we met. They did their yearly drill, facility annual drill, and the local police agencies were attended, and I guess it went off real good. They drew 1,718 pounds of vegetables from their gardens that the prison raised out there, and they donated all to the Manistee Community Kitchen. One day with God, it was actually a 2-day event. One day the fathers met with the religious leaders, and then the second day all their children were invited. And I guess it was really a worthwhile event. They're going to try to do that yearly. The 77th Annual Pistol Mint, this was the 6th year in a row that Manistee Oaks Division placed first. First place, 6th year in a row. Now watch out, don't go near there.
And that was on what again?
Pardon?
What was that first place for 6 years?
In first place, our facilities shoot team for the 6th year in a row placed first in the Michigan Department of Corrections Division of the 77th Annual Pistol Match held in Jackson. For the whole state, first 6th year in a row, first place. The director, Dan Hines, H-E-Y-N-S, was at the facility on September 19th and presented a life-saving award to Officer Doug Russell and a meritorious award to Officer Scott Adamski. The life-saving award, one of the prisoners they did the Heimlich maneuver on, and the other prisoner was having a heart attack, and he did CPR on Chelsea so it could come help them. They have as of today, they had 1,114 prisoners, and they have 330 people on staff. Believe it or not, and throughout the whole state of Michigan, there are over 600 vacancies and correction officers and administrative people. And the reason why is the state of Michigan has quit paying these individuals to go to school to get the training. You can get the training at the community college, but it costs $4,000. So they're wondering if the state's going to pick up that training again. Food service. Don't cringe, because there's some ladies in the audience. But believe it or not, that food service that they have, what is it, Amarok down, A-M-A-R-K, they had maggots in the potatoes. Yeah. They're not happy with the food service, but it's a state contract, and what can they do about it? Other than that, things are good out there. A lot of employment, which is good.
Any questions? Thank you, Clara.
You're welcome.
The Revenue Sharing Board doesn't meet October 22nd. It meets Monday, which I believe is the 13th. Monday the 13th?
Yes, it is.
At 5 p.m. and that will be the verbal presentation for the grant application. Bar Lake Improvement Board met October 6th. Is there a report on that? Guy, you weren't here, were you?
I was here.
Oh, okay.
We received a report on the second treatment of invasive species out there. It was the Phragmites, which are reeds, basically, if you will. And they used Roundup to treat those. They sprayed it on where they could, where it was on the ground. And then they wiped it on with a roller of some sort or a brush where they couldn't spray, like over the water. And they were reporting that the first treatment that they did on the Eurasian water milfoil was very good. They were very pleased with the results because their contract requires 80% kill, and they think they got more like 90 plus. So, what was the other thing? There is milfoil at the outlet, but the outlet's been flowing all summer because we've had so much rain and higher water. So they couldn't treat within 1,000 feet of the outlet because those chemicals could go into Lake Michigan. I think that's really about all they do.
Whatever the height of the water is in Bar Lake now, it seems like the residents are happy with
That's
the
true
depth
too.
of the lake.
Yeah, that was the general comment of people who were at the meeting.
Was the next meeting slated?
March, yeah, first Monday in March. I've forgotten the date.
I think it's the 7th.
Any questions? Mr. Godolphi, I think I'll give you an opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
have a long way to travel.
Appreciate it. Just want to say I was very sorry to hear about Joy. I came in quite a shock.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I'm sorry, Mr. Godolphi is our risk manager for our insurance company.
Yeah, Adam Gandolfi from Municipal Underwriters of Michigan. The program is the Michigan Township Participating Plan. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. We've got a 9-member board of directors, and those board of directors are all active township officials from throughout the state of Michigan. So it's by public officials, for public officials. You notice right on the cover there, it says Property and Casualty Dividend Program. They did form this program into a dividend program 3 years ago. And it looks like they're on track to issue the first round of dividend checks this coming January. So that's what the plan is, that all the members of the Power Plan program will get some form of a dividend this January. The first page there, support and service companies. First one being my location, so address, phone, fax, email, all that good stuff. If you need to get a hold of me. Dialing the 800 number, it'll actually ring through to my cell phone if I'm not in the office, so you should be able to get me wherever I'm at. Then there's the administrator of the program, the risk control administration, and the claims administration if you ever need to get a hold of them. Next page, the comprehensive municipal liability coverage. You're currently carrying $2 million per occurrence with a limit of $4 million in any 1 year. There's no deductible on the liability coverage. Who does the policy cover? Any member of the governing body of the named insured, any member of boards or commissions, any elected or appointed official, any employee, and any volunteer. A couple of those additional included coverages: public officials' residence and place of employment. So if someone were to come out to your home in regards to township business, and maybe there's a slip and fall accident or something of that nature, this policy would cover it. We include premises medical payments, $10,000 limit. We include host liquor law liability coverage. We include cemetery professional liability coverage. Number 14, the care, custody, and control coverage. That used to be $25,000 per occurrence. They've doubled that to $50,000. That's if you have someone else's property in your possession or if you're transporting someone else's property. 19, the non-owned and hired auto liability coverage. The policy will act like an umbrella over your own personal auto anytime you're in township business. So coming to the meeting, going home from the meeting, going to the bank, going to a convention, whatever the case may be, your own auto would be primary, but then this would pick up above and beyond that up to the limit of the policy. The next page, we get into the Public Officials Wrongful Act. This is your errors and omissions coverage. $2 million per occurrence with a limit of $3 million in any 1 year. This is if you're sued because of a decision or opinion of the municipal board, a decision or opinion of the fire and ambulance department, a decision or opinion of the zoning or planning board and zoning board of appeals. Number 4, regulatory taking of private property sustained by any one person or organization is $100,000 in coverage. There's no limit to the number of occurrences that you can have there. Regulatory taking of private property means the enactment or enforcement of any regulation or ordinance which unconstitutionally and temporarily restricts the use of private property. So essentially you would have to be acting against your own master zoning plan for that to happen in the first place, but we do see it happen. 5, decisions or opinions of building, electrical, plumbing inspectors, and contracted assessors. Alleged negligence or incompetence on the part of any public official or employee, including the failure to carry out duties. Accusations regarding mismanagement of municipal-owned assets. Inadequate supervision of voter registration and elections. Improper hiring and firing of employees. Failure to check auditing and accounting practices. And violation of civil rights. So these are the more common things that we see. Next page, fleet liability coverage. Again, you have the $2 million per occurrence. I'm currently showing a total fleet value of $693,000, and I'll get into a breakdown of that. $500 deductibles on the comp and collision. Inland marine coverage, all risk replacement cost coverage for property and equipment while on or off premises. I show $112,000 there. I'll get into a breakdown of that as well. $500 deductible. Next page, the property, currently showing just under $146,000 in total coverage. $500 deductible. We do have an inflation guard of 2.5% per quarter. So, if this building were to burn down in the fourth quarter of the policy period, you'd have an additional 10% of the amount shown in the schedule to replace the building. Property off premises, $100,000 limit. Personal effects of employees, $1,000 per person. There's no deductible on that coverage, so that can be your own personal effects. It could be eyeglasses, dentures, hearing aids, clothing, anything of that nature. If you jump in your car to come to a township meeting and you sit on your glasses and break them, this policy would replace them for you at no deductible. Automatic builder's risk coverage is $500,000 for 90 days. So if you started new construction and you forgot to let us know about it, you've got automatic coverage in place there for 90 days. Newly acquired property, buildings, is $1 million for 60 days and contents up to $250,000. Number 10, sewer backup. We do include $25,000 for direct physical loss or damage. In the past, that was always excluded, so that's a recent update as well. Glass coverage, $500 per pane, $5,000 per occurrence. Debris removal is now 25% of the total building value. So again, if you lost this building, you'd have 25% of its total value to help clean up the site for a rebuild. 14, damage to property of others caused by falling limb or tree, whereby limb or tree causes damage or movement to headstones or markers, $5,000 per occurrence. So that's designed to be storm damage for the cemetery. They'll also cover vandalism and malicious mischief up to the limits of the policy. So you actually have up to $2 million coverage for that. At the bottom there, we now include flood and earthquake coverage as well. We've got $100,000 in flood with a $10,000 deductible, and up to $1 million in earthquake with a $50,000 deductible. You probably will never need them, but if you did, they're in there. Valuable papers and records coverage, broad form coverage for the reconstruction of valuable papers and records, $250,000 year-round limit of protection and no deductible. Next page, crime coverage. It used to be $10,000 year-round and $25,000 during tax time. It's now a flat $100,000 year-round. It now includes computer fraud, includes employee blanket bond, includes money order and counterfeit paper currency, all officials' homes, place of employment, and banking facility. The public official bonds are included at no additional charge. Got the treasurer $25,000. Deputy treasurer $15,000, clerk and deputy clerk $10,000, and supervisor $5,000. And we can write higher limits if we need them. On the next page in the middle there, the business electronic equipment coverage. We've got a flat $100,000 in coverage. That's going to be computers, printers, monitors, scanners, anything computer related. It could be here at the hall. It could be at your home. It could even be at a place of business. But if it's used for township business, this policy will cover it. Equipment and mechanical breakdown, that's kind of the old boiler and machinery coverage. We have coverage in the amount of your total property value. So we've got $845,924 in total coverage with a $1,000 deductible. Next page, we get into some specifics for the fire department. First one, replacement cost. The cost of repairing or replacing the damaged or stolen property with new property of like kind and quality, or B, the amount shown in the schedule. So with that type of coverage in place, the intent is to purchase you a brand new vehicle should one of yours be a total loss. And if for some reason we don't have enough coverage in the schedule to replace the vehicle, then at the minimum you would recently check for the amount shown in the schedule. So at least that way you know where you stand on each vehicle. The other option that we can do on the fire vehicles is agreed amount. The cost to replace a part or parts of the damaged property at the time of loss with part or parts of like kind and quality without deduction for depreciation. Or if a member suffers a total loss, we'll simply cut you a check for the amount shown in the schedule. In addition to that, we have an additional available limit for fire and EMS vehicles. Should the insured suffer a total or partial loss of any fire or EMS, the insured at the time of the loss has the option to purchase an additional 25%. So they're giving you some buffer on those replacement values. I mean, if you had a $100,000 vehicle on the schedule, it's a total loss, and it's going to cost closer to $125,000 to replace it, you can purchase that additional coverage after the fact. And they'll do up to 50% more for any of the ancillary equipment. So that equipment that's attached to those vehicles or carried in compartments, you get up to 50% more value there. Rental reimbursement, the company should not be liable for more than the actual daily rental expense, not exceeding $500 per day, no more than $10,000 in any 1 year. Fraud collision is agreed that in the event of a loss or damage to an insured vehicle due to collision with another vehicle, the company will waive the specified deductible. This extension only applies when the insured is deemed not to have been substantially at fault. Freezing extension, it is agreed that this policy is extended to include coverage for damage to or loss of equipment due to freezings or extremes of temperature, unless it is caused by failure to maintain such equipment. Such equipment shall include, but is not limited to, pumps, gauges, nozzles, and tanks. Coverage is not provided for damage to or loss of vehicle engine. Recertification extension, it is agreed this policy is extended to cover the cost, if any, to recertify pumper apparatus when such recertification is made necessary by a loss. Borrowed, leased, rented, or commandeered from others. This policy is extended to cover equipment of a nature similar to that scheduled in the policy, which has been borrowed, leased, or rented from others during the term of this policy. The company should not be liable under this endorsement for more than $50,000 actual cash value on any one vehicle, or $300,000 in any 1 year. Personal effects of the volunteer fireman. Policy is extended to cover the personal effects of the active members of the fire department while engaged in the activities of the named insured. The company should not be liable for more than $30,000 in any one loss, and no more than $3,000 with respect to the personal effects of any one active member. No deductible on that coverage, so if they're using their own personal gear, and that can include cell phones and things of that nature, and it gets destroyed while they're out there, we'll replace it for them. Volunteer fireman vehicle endorsement. We can't insure their own personal automobiles. The township doesn't own them, but what we will do is we'll pay their deductible up to $1,000. And if they're not carrying any physical damage coverage, then we'll pay up to $1,000 to help get it repaired. Next we get into, the first one is just kind of a breakdown of a lot of the enhanced or newly added coverages. A lot of those I've already talked about. A couple that I didn't mention down towards the bottom there. Underground pipes, flues, and drains, we now have up to $1 million in coverage there. That used to be excluded. They'll also do fire department service charge, $5,000, and fire equipment recharge, $5,000, if there's an expense there due to a loss. Property schedule. So I show 3 locations. The top one being this location. So I know they had somebody come out, actually it's been, I think it was probably around 2006 or so, they had somebody come out and do an assessment of all the buildings. But since that time, they've been adjusting the values to keep up with market trends. So we should be in the ballpark, but if you ever want to have your assessor take a look and make sure that we're where we should be, it's a good idea.
I'll sell you a share of the road if you want to buy it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're looking at replacement costs. Big difference, especially nowadays. So I'm currently showing 6 fire vehicles on the schedule. Does that sound right? Yes. Okay. Now, as an example of the types of coverage that I mentioned earlier, so the first one, the 78 Ford, we have that insured for agreed amount, $48,000. If that vehicle's total, we're simply going to cut you a check for $48,000 and you can replace it you know, however you see fit. And I'm sure it would be an upgrade
Right.
for 78. So you've got plenty of coverage there. The next one, the Spartan, the 93 Spartan, that's actually insured for true replacement. So they're going to look for, you know, 2014 or maybe even 2015 at this point to replace that with. In addition, you would have up to 25% more that you could add to that 225 if that's what it takes to get you there, into a new vehicle. If that's still not enough, then at the very minimum, you would receive a check for $225,000 and you can replace it however you see fit.
And where did these numbers come from? Just curious.
I'm assuming we got them from the township.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to look at those.
Okay. Yeah, we can always address it. And these are values including equipment that's attached to the vehicles or carried in compartments. So it's not just the vehicle itself when we're looking at these values. But at least with these, you know what your bottom line is. You know the least amount that you would receive. So, yeah, that 225 might not get you 2015's Spartan, but it would still get you what you have. It would probably get you nicer than what you have right at the moment. So it just depends on where you want to be. The next page, the inland marine coverage. Both of these do look a little bit low to me, so I wanted to address those. I've got miscellaneous property and equipment for the township, $12,000. That's per occurrence, and that's anything considered portable in nature. So it could be a lawnmower, tools, a portable generator, a voting machine, all of those things. The recommendation is, what's the most value that you have at any one location, and that's usually the minimum coverage I recommend, just because the odds of losing more than one location at the same time are pretty slim, and this is a per occurrence coverage. On the ancillary equipment for the fire department, I've got $100,000 right now, but that's going to be the turnout gear, radios, basically everything that's not attached to the vehicles or on the vehicles 24/7. And I know, in particular, turnout gear has gone through the roof lately for replacement costs. So, the best way to know would be to do an inventory and see where you're at there. And the last page just shows the electronic data processing, the computers and scanners, the flat $100,000 in coverage. In addition to that, the power plan offers grant money twice a year. And it's up to $5,000, but there's no matching funds required. The intent of the grant is to reduce any potential liability exposures that the township may have, or to reduce any potential property losses. So they're going to look at a number of things. They seem to really focus on security issues like video surveillance cameras, alarm systems. They love all that stuff, and that stuff seems to get approved all the time. They'll also look at portable generators, maintain power if there's a power outage. That way pipes don't freeze, causing a property loss, stuff like that. This one, I've got the application with me, and it's actually going right now and would be due by no later than November 30th. It's pretty straightforward. It's not, it's not a major grant writing essay here, but you can literally just write down what you're looking for. It does have to be board approved. It kind of walks you through step by step.
Okay.
But if you do have any questions, just give me a call. I'd be happy to help you. I also have, and this will be extremely helpful, the results from the last round of grants. And what this shows is how much they were awarded, what they asked for, and the ones that were denied and what they asked for. So you're going to get a really good idea of what gets approved. So those were all denied. These were approved. So you can see.
Great, thank you.
Get a real good idea of what they're looking for and what they don't. They will look at, a lot of things for the fire department, but you do have to be careful there that it's not worded in a way where you're saying, this equipment's going to help protect the volunteer firemen, because that's a work comp issue. The department doesn't write work comp. Now, if you ask for the same exact equipment, but then say this is going to help protect the general public, now you can get it approved. So the wording can be important.
Great. You listening?
Yeah.
Okay. Leave
ran out of time last time. Yeah, the other grants we were applying for, yeah. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
I just want to express your expedience and go along with the problem we had here with flooding that we had here in January.
Yep.
You handled that very well, and we're very satisfied with the response, so
Thanks.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay. Well, if you ever need anything, just give me a call. I'd be happy to help you out any way I can, or you can come back out.
Great,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Yep. All right.
Good to meet you.
You too.
You'll probably be hearing from the fire chief again on his contact.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll probably be some details to work out,
Yeah,
but I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Yeah, you too. Thanks.
He's got to return to Hope Lake, so. thought we'd get him on his way. Under unfinished business, the McGinnis Drain update. Anybody want to report on the McGinnis Drain update? There's another meeting the 30th, is there? Is that what it is?
I think it's the 30th of this month, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think there's a lot to update on it, to be honest with you. They were considering open ditch from, this is a proximities, Forbes is across in the neighborhood of where the city well is in there somewhere, across to the river flats, and reversing the flow from Kemmer back that way, which is only approximately 2 feet, I think they were talking, in elevation from Kemmer back to reverse that flow. And they do not, I don't believe, have a plan at the moment, hard, fast, this is what we're going to do. That, I believe, is still in the talking stages. Would have to be my synopsis of what has happened.
We still have not defined the assessment district either yet.
No, they have not walked the property, and they do not have the assessment district yet. But they're still talking about not replacing, lining 800 feet of pipe from approximately Tubbs or Brown Road, wherever it's buried in there.
From Kemmer, yeah, to, I forget.
Yeah, well, it parallels Kemmer, 800 and some feet of pipe for over 300 and less than $400,000. And then they tell us that if in fact we had the same storm after spending the $400,000 or $375,000, that we will still have the same results. Like,
Unless we
that's
do
the part-
something above, yeah.
That's the part that's,
If I understand it, it doesn't increase the volume. It
No.
just-
no. No.
Just repairs the failing
Right.
part of the underground drain.
I'd be curious to know how it's been in the last few storms. This past weekend, we had 4.5 inches of rain in 36 hours.
Well, I drove out there and I didn't see any problem. Water was still going. It's not the supposed 11 inches that we had in 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I watched it all spring. I watched it when it rained. So
Yeah.
water's disappearing.
Bunch of men do.
No. Anything else on the McGinnis drain? The air conditioned furnace updates, just a quick synopsis of what happened there in January. Of course, remember we had a flood here. We couldn't take the heating systems out at that time to repair the wall behind the furnaces because it was winter time. And this summer we had a air conditioner fail on us, so they took that out. When they found that out, when they took that out, they found the damage to the wall. So all the heating units were removed. Those units have been in there for, well, 30 years. 3 years, so we replaced them all. As long as we had them out, we replaced them. We got all new air conditioners, furnaces. Should be good for another 30 years, hopefully. But that's, if you see, well, they're finished now, but custom sheet metal was in here and replaced all those units. And we're back in business. We have heat now, we have water now, we have new hot water heater and all new furnaces, air conditioners.
This building is 30 years old by the time flies.
Built in '86.
1986 it was
Yeah,
built,
they
I think.
relocated that water heater too.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mass was relocated in the other. Item number 3 is a clerk's vacancy. Can we get an update on that?
Want to speak?
We held some interviews today. We still have more for tomorrow. And by or prior to the first of the week, I think we're going to have to make a selection. So that's an update on what's going on with the clerks, or clerk applicants, I should say. And it'll be a tough job, and also, in the same breath, it's very nice to have the applicants and people interested in the position.
How many did you have?
Well, we had several. The only thing is we had to go through the applications that we had to make sure that they qualified in all the stuff that we had put in the paper that was required. And so I believe we had 5 that
5 was your interview?
Were any of the Manistee Township residents?
they're all.
They all have to be.
Oh, they all have.
We had several more applicants, but there's certain things that you have to follow.
Anything else? Supervisor vacancy, item number 4. We have to have that position in place by November 14th.
You can't go different.
We're not going to have a meeting November 14th. Well, you can. But. So what's your wishes? What would you like to do?
Nominate Dennis Burgess, please. If I was up there, I would do it, but I'm not up there.
There's an empty chair.
He's in the chair.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take the trustee position.
Need some guidance what you want to do here.
It's up there. Dance and Jankowitz.
I will make a motion to appoint Dennis Berquist as the township supervisor for the balance of the term.
I support
It's been moved and supported that I be placed in the supervisor's position to the expiration of John's term, which is November 16th.
16.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
I think we need a roll call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dunn,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
and
I'll abstain.
That was fast.
motion carried. Congratulations, Dan.
Do I have to be sworn at now, or, I mean sworn in?
Yeah, but you're still carrying the meeting as a trustee.
Okay, great. Bar Lake Outlet update, I don't know if anybody was by there and took a look, but on Tuesday afternoon, someone wanted to sit there and enjoy their lunch, as I understand, and mistakenly hit their accelerator rather than their brake and took out the whole north side of the walkway down the beach. No one was hurt, that's the main thing. I still have to make contact with the state police. The state police investigated it. And I guess I should have asked Adam how this whole thing is handled, but we won't do anything with it till spring now. But if anybody goes by there and sees yellow tape or the north side of the handrail gone, it's all piled up back here behind the garage. So it's a substantial amount of damage done. Number 6 is a garbage contract signature. This is just to clear up Area 31. Our garbage contractor has a signed contract signed by John Anderson. When John signed that contract, when was that, April? We asked that they give us not a percentage raise, but a cost per year. And in the interim, it got lost in the shuffle. So all this is a matter of clearing up the matter that we do have and will place on file a cost per year rather than a percentage raise. That's all that is. Snowplow bids. Oh, I'm sorry, is there anything else under unfinished business?
I looked in the box tonight, we're done, and
Is that all of them, that one? Oh, two.
one, there's one, this is a letter that needs to be read also. And this is from Forbes, and it remained unchanged from last year.
Same as last year?
Yes.
It's been like that for, I'm gonna say 10 years, hasn't it? A long time.
And that was the only one that was received. It was advertised for 3 days in the paper, and got nothing else.
I'll make a motion to give it to Forbes for the 14-15 snow blowing season.
Is there a second? It's been moved, supported that the bid from Forbes. Do you want me to read that rate?
Okay, if you want to,
That Forbes be awarded the bid for the four-wheel drive pickup, $35 an hour, the sander, $35 an hour, and a loader at an hourly rate of $60 an hour. And same as last year. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Drive.
All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Thank you. This isn't something you want to do now?
you can if you want to. It's a letter that came from John Anderson's family, and on the 18th of this month, they're going to have, that's a week from Saturday, they're going to have a retirement open house at the other end of the hall, and it's from 1 to 4. It says, bring your smiling faces, memories, and well wishes. No gifts, please. And that'll be the 18th from 1 to 4.
What is that date?
Saturday, the 18th of October,
What time?
1 to 4. Please join us in celebrating Dad's 30-plus years of service to Manistee Township.
Try to make it if you can. General election, November 4th, 2014. Becky, if you want to give a report on it before you do, though, I want to comment on how you and Judy been, for lack of another term, busting your butt getting this thing taken care of.
Well,
You put in a lot of time.
It's coming along real well. We have about 350 absent ballots out. We have more than that, it's closer to 400 absent ballots out right now. And everything has fallen into place. We tested the machines the other night. That's all set. Everything's ready to go.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care of all that. I guess the next meeting is gonna be Wednesday, November 5th. I don't have a problem with that date, do you?
No?
Wednesday? Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
It's too close to deer season otherwise.
Oh, I see.
Connie's quite a hunter.
I knew that.
You got a copy of the current bills for the month? What's your wishes?
I make a motion to allow the bills paid as presented.
Support. Been moved and supported that the bills be paid as read. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Manistee County MTA meeting is Wednesday, October 22nd, 2014, 7 o'clock at Bear Lake. Planning Commission's regular meeting will be Thursday, November 6th, 7 p.m. here at the hall. Appeals Board, if there is an appeal, will be November 4th at 7 p.m. And again, our meeting will be Wednesday, November 5th. The Bear Lake Improvement Board meets Monday, I believe March 2nd, you suggested?
It's Monday, whatever the first Monday is. Yeah, or March, I should say.
So I'll get that date and get it in for next time.
Any other public comment?
Oh, yeah, we didn't do this.
Oh, okay, just 1 minute, Carl, if you would, please. Sally, maybe you could shed a little light on it. We received a letter from the Road Commission with regards to the review. You're asking the board to endorse a resolution asking the governor and state legislators to enact a permanent funding solution. This was resolved by your board. You're
Well, that-
asking for a letter of support, is that correct?
As it reads there, we did that, and we sent it to all of the townships, plus all 83. Huh?
County.
Yeah. And then the governor, the representatives, etc. And I believe the county commissioners are also working on something. We're just trying to come up with something because everybody knows our budgets are not good. But we did finalize our budget, and you had a representative there today. I was waiting to see if he was going to speak, but he didn't. I do want you to know that we did put it in the budget for cost sharing with the township. So if you have any projects that you're interested in, please get them ready. We're talking for the resealing, chip sealing, and road reconstruction.
Is anybody
Cotton-
from,
Pardon?
excuse me,
Well, he's asking about cotton soda, and John was there today, and that is coming up.
17?
Yes, it's going to be under that special
It would
program.
be 15, but it's, yeah.
Well, that's out of our control, because we work with that group together, and that's what they're doing. And that could change. And Mr. Carsons was there from the Little River today, and John will tell you, I stressed probably hard to, we signed that APR back in 2008, and we have not heard anything yet. And we keep at them.
Under tip money?
We previously had board members that would not even acknowledge it. So once we will, we're waiting, and Mr. Shepherd used to tell us 2 years, 2 years, 2 years.
Mr. Van Berkel suggested next year. He did.
Okay, well, he is checking into it further, and he's going to get back with us, and I asked to set up an appointment and a meeting with him, and he's also going to talk with the manager to see where we could go on that. And they may have some other work that we could possibly work with them.
Sally, is the board or the manager you're going to attend a meeting, have a special meeting with the township in regards to possible projects for this coming year? Is that what you're doing here tonight? Is that?
No, I'm here as your township.
Okay.
I'm going to say they probably will do the same thing as they have in the past, but I don't know who's going to be on our board or where we're going to be with individuals. Yes, we schedule them and we start in January, run through, a lot of times it's still until April, and we attend. But past practice, I believe, was first come, first served. And you were there today and you saw there's other townships that are going to jump on the bandwagon. So I'm just saying, as a resident, I'd like to see you do as well. If you have something.
Right.
Cott Road.
But this, excuse me, but getting back to this resolution, if I may, what, do you want us to endorse this and send this?
When did you get that? And
From, in the mail,
did you have a cover letter on also, I see?
yes.
Okay,
This is a resolution asking the governor and state legislators to enact a permanent funding resolution.
it doesn't ask you,
It's a two-page resolution.
but it doesn't ask you to do anything, does it? I think it's just, we are informing you of what we did.
Please review this resolution and consider passing one of your own.
That's what, yes.
Time is of the essence. So what we'll do, or what I suggest we do, is to send a letter to the governor's office and our state legislator's office endorsing the resolution proposed by the Manistee County Road Commission October 3rd, 2014. How's that?
Support's appreciated.
You're the supervisor.
Not officially.
Yeah, you're the big guy.
Any residents, anybody?
Any other question?
No, that's all.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Sally, at the township comes to these meetings and cost sharing and stuff like that. Will the county have a per mile price for chip and sealing or brushing and grubbing or?
They do on a bid, Ed.
Yes.
They give us a bid for the project, all it over broke down.
Okay, I didn't know if they had, like a standard,
No,
chip and seal for.
It's quite a lengthy form. With the chip and seal, they just give us a price per mile. And then, like, one year John went with Gary and looked the roads over and see which was needed.
Yeah.
Because some of these roads are deteriorated to the point where.
Chip and seal ain't gonna help them.
Well, the Pazer ratings are extremely low. And when we were here, February was it? We gave you a copy of the Pazer rating, but then it was updated in July. That's with MDOT and we go together on that. And it's astonishing to see. And that's why that tells you right in there with the roads continuously deteriorating. At the rate they're deteriorating, it's going to take megabucks.
And wasn't it Antrim County that started grinding their paved roads, what was left of them? They made it back to gravel because they couldn't afford to
Sure.
maintain them.
Anyone else with anything for Sally?
That's an expensive process also.
I don't understand why for chip and sealing you needed engineering dollars spent to chip and seal.
Want to ask Mark?
Which project are you talking about? That particular project we talked about today?
Yes. That was on the agenda for chip and sealing, engineering, bids, prices, proposals.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I didn't bring all that stuff
Okay,
with me.
well, I have,
I think it was KMP.
Yes.
Or wasn't it, some of that was those bridges that we were going to work on?
well, that was
Plus
also,
with the Forest Service?
yes, that was one of them, but then also there was a, what is it, KMP? That had the engineering proposal for chip and seal, and I was gonna question that, but I thought I let it go.
You said you could hear in the back. You should have brought it up.
I did hear.
Anyone else?
If you want further explanation, I will be glad to follow it up, or I'm sure like Dan said. Marshall.
All right.
Two things, and I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag with either one. An update, I know you signed the agreement with the tribe with the sewer, and how's the water situation?
It's in the making, Claire. Just in the last couple days, we finally got information. I got it right here too.
From the city?
Yes, and we have not had time to go over it yet. So it's in the making.
I wish the
Did
tribe would
that
put it in
answer
their
your
own water.
question without?
No, tell the tribe to put it in their own water.
Well,
The heck with the city, they jerked Filer Township.
it's not ruled out.
Now they're doing the same thing to us. That's my personal opinion, and I'm sticking with it. One more thing, and I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag out of this, the township court. Anderson, with as many years of service in this open house, I hope you're planning on giving him a plaque or something of recognition for his service, please.
I hope you're not charging them for all.
That would be funny.
If they clean it up, they can get it reversed.
But, a plaque or something, I don't know what John feels about a plaque and some flowers or whatever, but he was a good supervisor for many, many years. And so if
You
you
remember
were
what year it started? 82?
Yes.
82, yeah, when Shadle died. Mhm.
We both started the same year.
Same year. Well, I've been here since 1961, 13 years for a sabbatical, so,
And you were gone when I came.
yeah.
All
So
right,
please get something.
Clara will take care of that. Thank you
Please.
for your concern. The only other thing that I have, or something I'd like to clear up, or at least give the guy some direction, is the fire chief wants to buy a fire truck.
Try it.
And
You got enough in petty cash.
I guess, Connie, I'd like you to tell us where we're at, or if we can, or if you can, or what you got.
Yep, I reviewed the pamphlet that he sent. He and I kind of briefly talked tonight about the other one that he has listed and a comparison. Totally his decision, or the fire department, in my opinion's decision. The truck's going to work for him for the money that they're talking. But he has that much in his budget line for a fire truck, and so I would say if they choose to spend that money on a truck for $120,000, that's an okay thing by me.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Support?
Support.
And moved, supported that Manistee Township Fire Department be allowed to spend up to $120,000 for a truck that they feel is adequate to replace 133. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Okay. Connie?
Yes.
Guns?
Yes.
Purpose? Motion carried.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
The only other comment that I might have is, it's that time of year, check your smoke detectors, fire extinguishers. Be safe. Anything else?
Batteries.
Change batteries.
Changing batteries.
We didn't talk about this contract with NRA, and I don't know if we want to table that until the next meeting so I can get you what I have for information on this.
I think we should, because didn't we ask for a participation list before?
We have done that in the past, and we did get a participation list, and in my opinion was real helpful because there was a participation list for kids that have been out of kids for years. So this year on the contract, it's a little different. They have a range as to what they're asking for instead of a set dollar amount. It's from this dollar amount to this dollar amount. And so we can get out what we have done in the past so many years and kind of get an average as to what that's costing for how many kids we think we have.
also, this contract started in July. So actually, the quarterly payment is due. So whatever you decide, we're going to be late anyhow.
No matter what we do, we're late.
And what did we do last year?
26, I believe.
And was that this?
No, it's this contract
This
too.
contract, which goes along with that. MRA contract.
Oh, okay, good.
This one right here. So, what have we done in the past?
About 10,400.
10,400 in the past, or last year, I guess.
And before that, it was 10,000, and we went up by 400.
And it can wait, you know, Connie will get the information and it can wait, so.
Is that what you'd like to do?
I think so.
Okay. So we'll have it on the agenda for next month. Anything else? Now, motion's in order.
Oh, show your power. Call it a chair.